everyone, and welcome back to the Alexa Show. I am Alexa Servo-Didio, your host, and I am so excited to be here tonight. Tonight, we have such an incredible guest. With us is Dr. Tara Perry. She's a hypnotherapist and a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. She specializes in rapid inner transformation, helping people get to the roots of their biggest blocks. For 25 years, Dr. Perry has successfully treated celebrities, Olympians, first responders, world record holders, doctors, teachers, and people like yourself. She's been featured on Lifetime Television, Esquire magazine, Fox Sports West, UCL Bruin, and Cosmed magazine. Dr. Perry, welcome to the Alexa Show. I'm so excited to have you here this evening.
Thanks so much for inviting me. It's great to be here.
Yes. So tell us a little bit, how did you get started with where you are now?
Oh, goodness. Going way back after college, I went to work in the entertainment business and was at the #1 talent agency. Realized in a couple of years that that wasn't where I wanted to put my energies. There was a homeopath that I was really impressed with how he was healing people. So I asked him, what would I do if I want to do what you did? And what you do. And he said, well, you need a license to practice medicine. So he said, you can either become an MD or a chiropractor or an acupuncturist. And so he said, in his opinion, the best way to understand the human body from a real health perspective was to study acupuncture. So you could understand the meridians and how the energy flows in the body, and help heal with acupuncture and herbology. And so I did that for 23 years. And then a patient came in who had a terrible trauma background, and she was all excited about what she was doing. And when I found out it was based in hypnosis, I said, oh, I want to meet your person, because I had always suspected hypnosis had a lot of power to it. And long story short, once I found out how incredibly powerful the subconscious mind is, which is really running the show, I just found that people were able to drop the stress, the anxiety, even physical things like, low back pain is really intricately correlated to how stressed out you are. And most of it is in the subconscious mind. So it's something that was acquired earlier in life. And that's why people tell me all the time that, they've been through 10, 20, 30, 40 years of therapy, had been through every meditation, breakthrough course, blah, 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 and still hadn't gotten to the root of the issue. And it's right there in the subconscious mind. You just have to know how to speak its language.
Yes, absolutely. And I just love and I'm inspired by so many different backgrounds, where you've started from and how also you've incorporated it all together. Because I find so many times people feel like they have to be stuck in one position, in one type of job or career. But it's being able to use all your strengths and, constantly learning and being inspired by others to keep giving back to the community, to work with yourself, but also to work with the community and use those gifts for those around you.
And it's also wonderful working with a broad variety of people. That's your feedback mechanism, because when you can see people, having their jaw grinding go away, the headaches, the migraines, the low back pain, the sleepless nights, when that moves really quickly in the direction of what they want, it's a beautiful feedback loop.
Yes. And how long, if someone were to come to you to say, okay, I want to set up an appointment, what does treatment look like? What would they expect?
Great question. So I do a careful intake. People meet me on a Zoom call and we find out where they are and where they want to go. I call that my GPS map. I mean, if you get a ticket from an airline, they need to know where you are and where you want to go. So I want to have really measurable results from that experience. So I need to have the goalpost very clear. And then the sessions take about 2 hours apiece. And when we relax into a low alpha or a light theta state, and I give people a practice audio to do that, there's ways to accomplish that very easily. But when you're in that relaxed state, you have much better access to your subconscious mind. We're in beta right now, so we're able to multitask. We know what's going on. That's not a great place to access the subconscious mind. And when people are going through therapy, that's typically where they're at, is in their conscious mind. So your conscious mind, our conscious mind, is only processing about 40 bits of information per second. Your subconscious mind is processing 40 million bits of information per second. Wow. So it's kind of like a rider on an elephant. If the rider says, I want to feel peace, I want to go to the gym, I want to get in good shape, I want to be nicer to people, whatever the story is, if the conscious mind wants one thing, but the subconscious mind wants something else, who's going to win that?
Yes. Yes. Now, actually, after our taping today, I am going to acupuncture. I have found it to be for almost 7, 8 years I've been going. It has been so rewarding and so peaceful and really just reconnecting everything. It's almost, speaking about it sometimes doesn't do it justice until you've really experienced it. But it's been a mind body experience that also kind of reboots, I find, the whole system in different ways. And I find, as I'm also a psychotherapist and I do EMDR, but sometimes doing one modality isn't enough. It's finding that mind, body, spirit, well rounded to be able to start enhancing, but also finding the real issue and core of what's going on. And each person is so different. We can't just give everyone one diagnosis. And I find so many times, I don't know about you, but I've noticed in different places, it's almost like a McDonald's one-stop shopping, boom, 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 where we're more complex. We need different layers. We need more time.
I totally agree. And that's why I don't do single sessions. I work with people over 90 days because I do find that there are those layers there. And I find that the process deepens as we move along because your brain starts to figure out how it works. And yes, I agree with you. Acupuncture is phenomenal. Had reverse paralysis with people, strokes, sequela, Bell's palsy, people who had just knocked out the neurology of their leg and couldn't walk without an ankle brace and had been going on with that for 10 months. And then in just 10 sessions, they were almost fully functional again. So I agree with you. And the military picked it up. There's something called battlefield acupuncture, and just doing acupuncture on the ear can greatly help the nervous system get into a parasympathetic state, which is your rest and relax, and out of that sympathetic. The only reason I stopped doing that and I'm doing this 100% is just because that huge subconscious mind that's swimming in the background is running the show for so much of our life experience that I found that by connecting and adjusting that, I always say people are like an iPhone 17 operating on iPhone 4 technology. And once you upgrade to the iPhone 17, it's like, oh my gosh. One of the most common things I hear is, well, I wish I had discovered this when I was 20.
Yes. Now, with hypnosis, so many times people, they see things that are on television or things that really are stereotypical that aren't what usually hypnotherapy would be like. What is it like with you? Because it sounds like yours is not just a one session and people are barking like a dog. It's a really serious grounding method.
That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked it because that misconception has really derailed people from, seeking out this kind of care because I can't make you think anything you don't want to think or believe anything you don't want to believe. That really is Hollywood. That is not what this process is about.
Mhm.
You have full control if something were to happen and you needed to pop out of it and go handle it. You're not incapable of doing that. But when you're in that relaxed state and somebody's asking you the right questions, you can bypass the conscious mind and find out what's going on with the subconscious mind that's really pulling the strings and the levers. Yeah, it's kind of, I always think about the scene in The Wizard of Oz when Toto pulls the curtain back and they can see, oh my gosh, the wizard isn't some big scary thing that they need to fear. It's just a little old wizened man pulling the levers. Once the subconscious mind can see that, it doesn't unsee it.
Yes.
And the freedom that comes along with it, the lightness, the energy, the clarity, the good boundaries that come along with that are enormous.
Yes, yes. Doing a lot of EMDR therapy with a lot of my clients, I find a lot of it is in the subconscious. And sometimes they think they have this A, B, and C behaviors because it's so obvious it's because of this event and that event. And really digging deep with the bilateral eye movement, going deep into the subconscious, going into what the body and the mind think is fear or danger, and really clinging to it and being able to open that up allows this insight where I find, yes, I do talk therapy too, but sometimes it's just not enough, or that you keep hitting that wall where something has to be opened up in the mind to allow that, even if there's severe trauma, for the person and the body and the mind to be able to say, okay, I can access this. It's a little nervous. I'm scared, but I can access this and find that and be able to have the peace, which sounds strange while doing that. Do you find that with hypnosis?
Oh, 100%. It is very much like looking under the bed for the monster, and once you can see there's no monster there, then all of a sudden there's just huge relief. I hear that over and over again. People sleep better, often
Mhm.
better than they've slept in their entire lifetime. They feel lighter. One woman I worked with recently was coming to me because she was fearful of going into an MRI. Phobias are great. For these issues. But after she had done the 3 sessions, she was needing the MRI for her severe low back pain, and she didn't have the low back pain anymore, so she didn't need the MRI.
Oh, wow. So it really can, even while someone comes in to treat fear of MRI, it could work on anxiety, back pain, maybe sleep issues, other things that maybe the person is not
Yep.
really aware.
There's usually a cascade of positive benefits, and it's kind of fun because I don't know what the person's going to report back to me, but I
Yes.
do know that when you're in sympathetic fight or flight, you're running for your life in the subconscious. That's why you're stressed out all the time. You go home exhausted, even though it really wasn't that exhausting a day. But the brain thinks that it's in danger. Once that gets dialed back into the parasympathetic so that the immune system can start functioning, the digestive system can start functioning, the hormonal system can start functioning, there's just a greater sense of energy, a greater sense of peace, a greater sense of lightness. The woman I just described, she went to her physical therapist, and this woman was really familiar with her body, and she says, my goodness, it's almost like your body isn't like a turtle shell anymore.
Wow.
Because she was so used to going around tight all the time,
Yeah.
that when the therapist was able to put her hands on her body and it was starting to feel like pliable muscle should, that was another great indicator that yes, this person has succeeded in what they set out to do.
Now, if someone comes in for hypnosis, does what they've worked on, because I get this question all the time, does it wear off? Do they have to keep in for like follow ups or maintenance? How does that work?
So I would say the answer is no, there's no maintenance required because again, once that curtain gets pulled back and you can see the Wizard of Oz as just this little old man pulling levers and it's not even relevant to your life today, then you don't unsee that. That said, life stressors can come up, new inciting things can come up, just the traumatic things that go on in life, divorce, loss of this, loss of that, and then you can reach a new area or a new layer that needs, I do have people that reach out a year or two or three later. They go, okay, that was great. I totally took care of what I wanted to the first time, but now I have this other issue and I'd like to get this addressed. So,
And it changes the mindset. Also with the EMDR, I have people coming back saying, that was so great. I'd love to try something else or to start tackling another concern. Where sometimes in the beginning it's been so frightening, this monster under the bed, this huge fear looming down, that when they feel empowered, they take their power back and they're able to kind of be able to say, okay, I'm able to view this. It might not be easy, but I want to view this. I want to find out what makes this tick. What is kind of underneath all of these different layers.
yeah, as you know, the brain prefers a familiar hell to an unfamiliar heaven. So the goal is to make heaven familiar and hell unfamiliar. So I work with people that have an 8, 9, or a 10 need to change and an 8, 9, or a 10 commitment to change. Because with that, then you have the energy to face the goblins, the
Yes.
the monsters underneath the bed, and because otherwise, if you just continue running from them, you won't solve your problem.
Yes, they just kind of get bigger and bigger. Now, you also have your own podcast, Next Level Healing, which is on all the platforms. Tell us about that.
Well, I actually started it, I want to say about 2.5 years ago, because people were getting such crazy results with things. Some people would be allergic to everything but 5 foods. A lot of people who had suffered PTSD issues. One woman saw her husband catch on fire. He's fine. He dropped and rolled. He is fine. But it ignited PTSD and mold and babesia and mast cell inflammation, all really difficult things to solve. And in 3 sessions, she didn't have to do the acupuncture twice a week, the neurofeedback, the biofeedback, all the stuff that they were having to do. People with headaches and migraines. One gal was attacked by a Rottweiler. She went through 6 jaw surgeries. She was living in pain and fear of losing more teeth. She had developed a choking disorder. Every time she ate, she was at risk of going to the hospital. And in the first session, she knew that this was the answer and she didn't have to have any more of those, no more surgeries, no more teeth lost, no more trips to the ER. So when these were occurring, I wanted to capture it so that other people would know about it. So that's why I started it. It's called Next Level Healing. And then somewhere along the way, I want to say about a year into it, maybe, I just realized there's a lot of amazing book authors and
Mm.
explorers and and just people who have accomplished amazing things with people. So I've really been blessed to have incredible people on the show.
I wanted to ask your opinion. Why do you find, because I've seen it a lot, that it's so difficult sometimes for people to believe or for mainstream to really see the connection between stress, between mind and body, and how it affects you emotionally, physically, mentally? And I think, yes, medications are great. Medicine is great when needed. And I'm not a doctor. So I think, yes, when it's necessary. But I find so many times that's the first thing. Well, sometimes when you can find out it's a lot of trauma, a lot of times clients will come to me and they've had a history that they've been diagnosed with psychosis or this and that. And then once we've really healed the trauma, those acting out those behaviors, those psychotic thinking and behaviors are really not there anymore. And sometimes, yes, medication can just fix it. But I feel like let's promote these other ways too. Yes, safety is important, but it's not just usually a one answer.
Well, I'm really glad you brought that up. I think informed consent is really important. And a lot of people go on medications not realizing how some of them are very difficult to come off of.
Yes.
So if there's ways, in fact, I just recently interviewed an orthomolecular psychiatrist, Hyla Cass. She's written 8 books that have to do with how to treat your brain nutritionally so that you can reap the benefits of that before you go reaching for drugs. Because if, the first tenet of medicine is do no harm. So if there are ways that one can be more relaxed, and there are plenty,
Mm-hmm.
nutrition, grounding, community, breath work, cold therapy. There's just many methods that people have used to get into a calmer state of mind. HeartMath has done amazing research with that. If you're in heart and brain coherence, then your ability for your mind, body, and spirit to heal or just go up exponentially. So I totally agree with you. The safest things that have a track record for being helpful, in my opinion, should be looked at first, unless there's, extenuating circumstances where, there's heroic medicine is necessary.
Yes, yes. And what do you find if there is maybe one of the toughest places or person where there have been that is for treatment that you find maybe it's kind of harder or different, hard to get into those layers? Has there been one more option that's saying, wow, this one's a real difficult type of treatment?
Well, on the last subject that we were on, people that have been on certain psychotropic medications for a long period of time can definitely be more challenging.
What do you find with that? Is it redoing or undoing what these, sometimes a lot of these medications have issues and side effects that cause something even sometimes worse than why they went on the medication for?
100%. And I've had many people that just had reported to me a terrible time coming off of them.
Yes,
So again, I think informed consent is really important. If you need, I think we should know the risks and rewards of whatever we do.
absolutely. What does a typical day in your life look like while you're working?
That's a great question. Well, with the podcast and working with people, it varies quite a bit. Like this afternoon, I'm going to be on a call. I've been asked to guest speak at an online event for a conscious island community down in Panama.
Wow.
So one of my clients actually bought an island down there and is building it out so that people who are positive and like to a lot of these people are connected to the Dr. Joe Dispenza community, so they're into meditation, they're into positive thinking and aware of how, to your point, Alexa, how the positivity and the working on not being in a stressful state literally has an impact on your physical, mental, and
Yes,
emotional well-being.
yes, absolutely. If someone wants to come see you, does it have to be in person? Can it be telehealth? What do you recommend?
That's a great question. I would say 80% of the people I work with are virtual. I've
Good.
literally had people all over the world in, I don't know, 8 or 9 different countries. I haven't counted it up lately. I should probably do that. But yeah, I mean, COVID was that part of COVID was a blessing for me because it
Yes.
it pushed that uh, and because I was brick and mortar exclusively up until that point,
Mhm.
and now being able to work with people around the planet is such a blessing. And you don't really, people are just relaxed, their eyes are closed, so it's not less effective. I would say I have only met about 20% of the people that I've worked with. So,
I
and,
agree too. A
and
lot of
sometimes
people say it's different. Should I come in person? Telehealth is just the same, I find. Sometimes, people like to just see who I am in person, but the EMDR, the talk therapy, works the same way via Zoom and in person. And sometimes I find a lot of people are not as anxious because they don't have to get the commute. They don't have to worry about this. You're in your own place if you're comfortable in your sanctuary of home. You're just where you are.
That's a great point. Yeah. So for people that are anxious visiting someplace they've never been before, yeah, you're in the comfort of your own home.
Wonderful. So if people want to find you, they want to book an appointment or listen to your podcast, what is the best way to find out all that you do? Because we're almost at the end of our session. We have so much more to cover, but how can we keep following you and finding you?
So Next Level Healing is available on all platforms. You can also find Dr. Tara Perry just by going into any of the platforms and typing that in. Or if you have something that you've been struggling with for a long time and you really the people that work with me have, they're tired of it and they want it done quickly. They often have very busy jobs, and it's costing them too much to carry the stress, the tension, the anxiety, whatever that physical, mental, emotional thing is that's been haunting them, usually their whole lives.
Yes.
They can go to consulttara.com. There's 10 questions that they can answer, and we can get on a call and just see if they're a good fit and take it from there.
Great. And what would be one tip or something? I know it's on the spot and it's last minute that you could just give my listeners to help them, just something small they can do or think about each day just to help them keep moving forward.
I love to say we are standing on the shoulders of giants. There are people doing great work, helping people quickly, and the spectrum in terms of the time, money investment is wide. So podcasts are great. Find podcasts that are uplifting, informing, give you things, and turn off the garbage. Turn off anything that's
Yes.
negative. It's well known in news that if it bleeds, it leads. And that's just negative. And it's there to capture eyeballs. There's ways to get your news that doesn't require, hearing about
Trump.
every piece of murder and mayhem and negativity that, can put you in a state of fear. It's really there to put you in a state of fear so that you'll keep tuning in.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much for being on the show and thank you for all of your insight and thank you for all that you do because it's so important to keep this discussion going and also being able to provide resources for everyone. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, Alexa.
Yes, anytime. And I definitely would love to have you back because there's so much more and I know I'm going to be getting a lot of questions.
Be, be,
Definitely.
hap- be happy to come back. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Everyone, have a good night and God bless.